students, myself Bhavani Pentela, working as an assistant professor in Noida Institute of Engineering and Technology, Greater Noida. In this lecture, I am going to cover anti-ulcer drugs part 2. In previous lecture, I had discussed about anti-ulcer drugs part 1. Okay, without any further delay, let me dive into the class. So, in the previous lecture, we had discussed about anti-ulcer drugs, especially about the H2 blockers. In the previous anti-ulcer part 1, in anti-ulcer drugs part 1, we had discussed about the how the factors imbalance happen due to how the peptic ulcer will going to happen, and after of that we had discussed about the secretion of hydrogen chloride HCl in the by the parietal cells. After that we had discussed about the classifications of any anti-ulcer drugs. We had discussed about the the pharmacological actions, drug interactions, okay, adverse drug reactions, uses of an H2 blockers. Today we are moving to the class lecture, my 6th lecture, which is about the proton pump inhibitor. These are the proton pump inhibitor. The name itself indicating the proton pump inhibitors are the drugs which will inhibit the proton pump. In this lecture, we will concentrate the rest of the drugs, how the drugs will be how the drugs were going to decreases the gastric acid secretion. Okay. So, this is the second type of classification. This is the second part which comes under decreasing of gastric acid secretion. You had seen the classification. The classification first part was the decreasing the gastric acid secretion. Decreasing the gastric acid secretion, you can see the H2 blockers. Second one is proton pump inhibitors. Proton pump inhibitors are inhibitors which will inhibit the proton pump. The proton pump, what these drugs will do here? These drugs will inhibit the gastric hydrogen potassium ATPase pump. So, this is the main proton pump which is responsible for the production of hydrogen chloride in the final pathway. So, this is a pump, this is a proton pump. Which type of proton pump it is? Hydrogen potassium ATPase. Hydrogen potassium ATPase, it is a proton pump which is responsible for production of gastric acid secretion in the final step. So, all proton pump inhibitors, the PPIs. So, this is shortly called as a proton pump inhibitors. The proton pump inhibitors are the prodrugs which will requires the activation and acidic pH. These are the pro type of drugs. The proton inhibitors are the pro type drugs which needs activation at an acidic pH. So, this is the mechanism of action by where you can understand in a better way how the proton pump inhibitors going to reduces the gastric acid secretion. If you see here the proton pump, when you are taking the proton pump inhibitors, these are the prodrugs which are inactive. Okay, these are the inactive prodrugs. Proton pump inhibitors are the inactive prodrugs. So, when it will get converted into active, it will get converted in the parietal cells. In parietal cells, these proton pump inhibitors will be converted into active form. Let me see how it will converted into the active form. Initially, it is an inactive state. These drugs are inactive, converted into active form, the thiophilic sulfonamide. This is the thing, thiophilic sulfonamide cation in the parietal cells. In parietal cells, this inactive form of proton pump inhibitors will be converted into active form, thiophilic sulfonamide cation. When it has been converted into active form, this sulfonamide will react with the proton pump. Which type of proton pump? Hydrogen potassium ATPase proton pump. When it has been converted into active form, it will react with the hydrogen potassium ATPase pump. By when it will react with this pump, it irreversibly inactivate the proton pump. This is the important point. The proton pump inhibitors will irreversibly inactivate the hydrogen potassium ATPase pump. So, this is the drug when it is converted into the active form, it irreversibly inactivate the proton pump. It irreversibly inactivate the proton pump. When the proton pump irreversibly inactivated, now the proton pump has been get inactivated. By this inactivation, there will be no transport of ions because the pump has been blocked. The proton pump has been blocked. So, there is no secretion of hydrogen from the parietal cells. This is the mechanism of action. So, I will repeat one more time. If you see the proton pump inhibitors are the inactive prodrugs. It will get converted into active in the parietal cells. How it will get converted into active form? When you have taken the proton pump inhibitors, it will be converted into active form with the thiophilic sulfonamide cation in the parietal cell. In the parietal cell, this inactive prodrug will be converted into active form. This active form will react with the proton pump. How it will react with the proton pump? It irreversibly inactivate the proton pump. When it irreversibly inactivate the proton pump, now this proton pump will get blocked. By blocking of this proton pump, there will be no transport of ions. Which type of ions? There will be no secretion of hydrogen from the parietal cells. If there is no secretion of hydrogen from the parietal cells, how the hydrogen and chloride will form the HCl? So, there will be no production of any HCl. In such a way, these drugs will reduces the gastric acid secretion by acting on the proton pump, which is the last step of any production of gastric acid. So, proton pump inhibitors, if you see the omeprazole is a proton pump inhibitor which is a drug used to reduce the gastric acid secretion. Omeprazole is inactive at neutral pH. So, if you have taken this drug, if this drug is inactive at the neutral pH, this is in a drug when you had given to the ulcer patient, it will block the proton pump which is the main pump at the last final step of any gastric acid secretion. So, omeprazole will block the proton pump and will reduces the gastric acid secretion. So, it selectively block the gastric mucosal carbonic anhydrase. It can selectively block the carbonic anhydrase enzyme by blocking selectively carbonic anhydrase enzyme, but it having negligible effect on a pepsin content. So, it can block the hydrogen, it can block the proton pump, it can block the carbonic anhydrase enzyme, but it do not having negligible action on a pepsin content. The proton pump inhibitors will be act very best when you had taken on the empty stomach or you had taken half an hour before the meals. Okay. So, empty stomach you can prefer the antacids. So, at least you can take these drugs before half an hour to the meals or to the breakfast. So, by this is the figure by where you can understand how the omeprazole drug will shows the anti-ulcer in action. So, in the first lecture, this is anti-ulcer first part. In the anti-ulcer first part, I had said you the acetylcholine, histamine and gastrin. These are the three pathways by where the hydrogen chloride will be produced, by where the gastric acid secretion will be get increased. Okay. So, this is a defensive secretion. So, prostaglandin is a defensive secretion which will protect the GIT from the acid. So, if you see the acetylcholine, whenever acetylcholine bind to, this is a receptor. Which type of receptor it is? Muscarinic receptor. Okay, this is a muscarinic receptor. When the acetylcholine bind to the muscarinic receptor, then it will activate the protein kinase. Protein kinase, by activation of this protein kinase, the proton pump in turn will get stimulated. By proton pump will get stimulated, then the high gastric acid production you can see. So, in such a way the acetylcholine will increases the gastric acid secretion to bind to the muscarinic receptor by activation of protein kinase enzyme. By activation of this enzyme, it in turn activates the proton pump. Okay? And next one is gastrin. Gastrin is a hormone when it bind to its receptor. Okay, the gastrin is a hormone when it bind to its receptor. This also will activate the protein kinase. The protein kinase, the activation of the protein kinase in turn will activate the proton pump and which will increases the gastric acid secretion. It also stimulate the pepsin secretion also. So, this drug, the gastrin will be blocked by the proglumide. Proglumide is a drug which can block the action of gastrin to bind to its receptor. So, here you can use the anticholinergics. Okay. Here you can use the anticholinergics. Now, we move to the histamine. Histamine is a local hormone when it binds to the receptor. Which type of receptor? When it bind to the H1 receptor. When it bind to the H2 receptor, then it will increases the gastric acid secretion. How it will increases the gastric acid secretion? If you see the histamine, it is a GPCR receptor. Okay, what is a GPCR? Z protein coupled receptor. Histamine is a Z protein coupled receptor. When the histamine bind to its receptor, Z protein coupled receptor, here the Z protein will get activated. By activation of this G protein, here the G protein will get stimulated, activated. By the activation of this G protein, in turn will activate the adenyl cyclase enzyme. When the adenyl cyclase enzyme will get activated, now you can see the conversion of ATP to cyclic AMP. Adenosine triphosphate to adenosine monophosphate. This cyclic, when the ATP is converted into cyclic AMP, this cyclic AMP will activate the protein kinase. This activation of protein kinase in turn activate the proton pump and it will increases the gastric acid secretion. So, now you can understand how these drugs acetylcholine, histamine and gastrin will increases the gastric acid secretion. So, the acetylcholine when binds to its muscarinic receptor, it will activate the protein kinase. By activation of this protein kinase, the proton pump in turn will get activated and it will produces the gastric acid secretion. The gastrin is a hormone. When it binds to its receptor, it will activate the proton, it will activate the protein kinase enzyme. By activation of this protein kinase enzyme, which will activate the proton pump. By activation of this proton pump, the gastric acid secretion will be get increased. These drugs will be blocked by the, this action will be blocked by the anticholinergics, this action will be blocked by the proglomide. And next one, histamine. Histamine is also responsible for the increasing of gastric acid secretion. How it will increases the gastric acid secretion? The histamine, when it bind to the histamine receptor, histamine is an Z protein coupled receptor. Binding of this receptor, here the receptor will get activated. Now, this receptor will get stimulated. By stimulation of this receptor, in turn will get stimulated, in turn it will stimulate the adenyl cyclase. So, in turn it will stimulate the adenyl cyclase. By stimulation of this adenyl cyclase, ATP will be converted into cyclic AMP. This cyclic AMP will increases the proton kinase activation. By the proton kinase activation, in turn it further increases the proton pump activation. Finally, the gastric acid secretion. So, here you can use the histamine blockers. And next one, prostaglandin. Prostaglandin is an analog. So, prostaglandin A2, these are the drugs which shows its action by the defensive mechanism. So, when it bind to the receptor, when the prostaglandin bind to its receptor, it will inhibit the Z protein coupled receptor. So, inhibitory action, if the histamine binds to the GPCR, it having the stimulatory action. When the prostaglandin binds to the receptor, it will shows the inhibitory action. This inhibitory action, what is going to happen? Here adenyl cyclase will not get activated. Here the adenyl cyclase activate. Here you can see the inhibition of adenyl cyclase activity. If there is no activation of adenyl cyclase, how ATP will be converted into cyclic AMP? So, there is no conversion of ATP to cyclic AMP. So, there is no protein kinase will get activated, no proton pump will get activated and there will be no secretion of an HCl. This will be seen by the prostaglandin. Okay, I think you had understand by this here. So, this is an omeprazole. So, we are talking about an omeprazole mechanism of action. So, omeprazole will blocks the proton pump. This is the proton pump which you can call as an hydrogen potassium ATPase. Okay, proton pump which you can call as an hydrogen potassium ATPase. The omeprazole drug. So, whatever it the drug which comes under proton pump inhibitors, all the proton pump inhibitors will block the proton pump and finally it will decreases the gastric acid secretion. See? And next one, the uses of any proton pump inhibitors. So, this has been used in the peptic ulcers, it has been used in the bleeding peptic ulcers. So, in some peptic ulcers you can see the bleeding also. In such a condition also you can use the proton pump inhibitors. In stress ulcers, Zollinger-Ellison syndrome, you can use in the gastroesophageal reflux disorder, disease or aspiration pneumonia. In all these conditions you can use the proton pump inhibitors. And next one, adverse drug reactions. So, adverse drug reactions is a reaction, it is an undesirable effects of any drug. If you say the proton pump inhibitor, whenever you had taken the proton pump inhibitors like omeprazole, ranibrazole, whatever it may be, this drug will having the very minor side effects like nausea, loose stools, headache, abdominal pain, muscle pain, somewhat you can feel the joint pain. So, dizziness, all these are the minor side effects you can observe with the proton pump inhibitors, and these are the side effects which you can observe very rarely. What are the rashes, leukopenia and hepatic dysfunction? These will be very infrequent. So, these are very infrequent. So, if you see here rashes, allergic reactions, leukopenia, decrease in white blood cells, white blood cell count, hepatic dysfunction. So, this will be happen infrequently. So, one prolonged therapy of this treatment will causes the atrophic gastritis. So, if you are taking these proton pump inhibitors in a long therapy in a high dose, it will causes the atrophic gastritis. So, what is an atrophic gastritis? Before going to the atrophic gastritis, let me say about the gastritis. What is a gastritis? Gastritis is a condition where you can see the inflammation inflammation of an stomach. Okay, where you can see the inflammation of an stomach. Atrophic gastritis. Atrophic gastritis is atrophic gastritis is a chronic form of gastritis. So, atrophic gastritis is a chronic form of a gastritis, where you can see the atrophic gastritis is an inflammatory disorder. It is an inflammatory disorder where you can see the stomach lining will get inflammation. Okay. So, in that condition, so this is when you had taken this drug in a prolonged use, which can causes the atrophic gastritis, inflammation of the stomach, chronic inflammation of a stomach. And next one, drug interaction. If I am talking about any drug interactions, omeprazole inhibit the oxidation of any certain drugs. So, if you take in the omeprazole is a drug which will shows the action in a such a way, it will inhibit the oxidation of another drug. So, what is the drug interaction you are seeing here? The omeprazole. What type of drug it is? It is a proton pump inhibitor. When this proton pump inhibitor you had taken with the another drugs like diazepam, phenytoin, warfarin. So, what is going to happen? The omeprazole will inhibit the oxidation of rest of the drugs. When the omeprazole drug will inhibit the oxidation of diazepam, phenytoin or warfarin, what is going to happen here? These levels of a drug will get increased in your body, because the drug do not get metabolized. So, if the drug do not get metabolized, the higher concentration of drug will be present in your body. At the same time, it can produces the toxicity also. And clarithromycin is an antibiotic which will inhibit the omeprazole metabolism. So, if you have taken omeprazole with clarithromycin, this clarithromycin will inhibit the metabolism of omeprazole. And next one is anticholinergic drugs. Anticholinergic drugs are the drugs which will inhibit which will decreases the gastric acid secretion. Anticholinergic drugs are the drugs which will inhibit the acetylcholine action to its receptor. Okay. So, if you see here, atropine and their substituents are used to reduces the gastric acid secretion and pepsin secretion. So, these are the drugs, the anticholinergic drugs which can reduces the gastric acid juices and pepsin secretion. If I am talking about the proton pump inhibitors, it can decreases the gastric acid secretion, but do not having any effect or very negligible effect on a pepsin secretion. But these drugs, anticholinergic drugs, will inhibit the gastric juices secretion and pepsin secretion as well. Antimuscarinics are the contraindicated in reflux esophagitis. So, these are the drugs which you should not give in the reflux esophagitis. In such a disorder, you should not prefer the anticholinergic drugs. These are the drugs which are contraindicated in such a conditions. And if you see the pyrangipine, it is an anticholinergic drug. Okay. So, pyrangipine, it is an anticholinergic drug. It is a selectively antimuscarinic drug to the M1 receptor. So, when the acetylcholine bind to the M1 receptor, the pyrangipine is a drug which can selectively block the receptor action. It is an antimuscarinic drug. So, if I am talking about this pyrangipine drug, pyrangipine is a drug which can inhibit the gastric acid secretion approximately 40 to 50% without producing any undesirable effects, So, this drug having very low side effects when you are treating to peptic ulcer disorder. So, when this drug you are taking as a peptic ulcer to treat the peptic ulcer, when this drug you had taken to treat the peptic ulcer, so this is a drug which can inhibit the gastric acid secretion 40 to 50% approximately. In Europe, it is used as a first line drug to treat the peptic ulcer, but this drug is not used in USA. So, this is the drug which is not used in the USA. And next one is prostaglandin analogs. The prostaglandin analogs are also drugs which will reduces the gastric acid secretions. So, which drugs are reduces the gastric acid secretion? First one is H2 blockers, second one is proton pump inhibitors, third one is anticholinergics, and last one is prostaglandin analogs. All these four types of categories of drugs which will reduces the gastric acid secretion. This is the last part in your this is the last subdivision which will reduces the gastric acid secretion. Prostaglandin analogs. Prostaglandin analogs are the drugs which will decreases the gastric acid secretion. So, you can see the prostaglandin E2 and prostaglandin I2. So, these are the forms of prostaglandin which will decreases the secretion of a gastric acid secretion. It acts as a cytoprotective action. It having a defensive cytoprotection. It have very defined cytoprotective action. The natural prostaglandin having very short T half. So, if I am talking about this prostaglandin, if it is a natural prostaglandin, it having very short T half. And next one, ribapamide. Okay, ribapamide. Ribapamide is a drug. It is a new drug which falls under the prostaglandin analog. Ribapamide is a new drug which is used to treat the gastric ulcers and gastritis. So, one more drug है misoprostol. So, this is a drug. This is a drug which will use it to take, this is misoprostol is a prostaglandin analog. So, which type of a drug it is? It is commercially available in the market. Okay, this is very commercially available in the market. It can reduces the gastric acid secretion, but not like in a H2 blocker. Okay, this is the important point you have to remember with the misoprostol. So, this is about the prostaglandin. Prostaglandins are the drugs which will reduces the gastric acid secretion. It having the cytoprotective action. This is the newer drug, ribapamide. This ribapamide is a newer drug which is used to treat the gastric ulcers and gastritis. There is one more drug, misoprostol. The misoprostol is a drug which is commercially available in the market. Okay, and this is also drug will reduces the gastric acid secretion, but somewhat less compared to that of H2 blockers. And next one, antacids. Antacids are the drugs which will reduces the gastric acid secretions. How it will reduces the gastric secretion? By neutralizing the acid. So, the antacids are the drugs which will neutralize the gastric acid secretion. These are the weak bases. So, if you see here, the antacids are of two types, systemic antacids and non-systemic antacids. So, if you see the mechanism of action here, the antacid are the drugs are the weak bases which will neutralize the gastric HCl. How it will neutralize the gastric HCl? These are the weak bases. These are the weak bases which will neutralize the gastric acid secretion, and this rises the gastric pH above 4. If I am talking about the sodium bicarbonate drug, it can rises the gastric pH above 7. This is the drug which can rises the gastric pH to above 7. So, which type of drug it is? Sodium bicarbonate, systemic antacid. Systemic antacid is a drug which can rise the gastric pH to above 7. And what are the adverse drug effects of the non-systemic antacids and systemic antacids? If I am talking about the non-systemic antacids, it can causes the diarrhea, and systemic antacids, if I am talking about the non-systemic antacids, the magnesium trisilicate, magnesium oxide, magnesium hydroxide, this will causes the diarrhea. Okay, aluminum hydroxide will causes the constipation. If you see here, if you have you observed this thing, both are the non-systemic antacids. One is causing the diarrhea and other salt is causing the constipation. If any person will taking the magnesium trisilicate, magnesium oxide and magnesium hydroxide, in a particular person you can see the diarrhea. In such a condition, you can treat diarrhea by giving the aluminum hydroxide. So, if the particular person who having diarrhea with these drugs, you can give the aluminum hydroxide. At the same way, if any person taking the aluminum hydroxide drug, aluminum hydroxide is a drug which can produces the constipation. To relieve this constipation, you can give the magnesium trisilicate or magnesium oxide or magnesium hydroxide. And systemic antacids, the main drawbacks are flatulence, nausea, systemic alkalosis, edema. All these are the factors, all these are the side effects which you can see with the systemic antacids. And next one, drug interaction. Drug interaction, it means by one drug can shows action, one drug will alter the action of another drug. If you see here aluminum components, okay, calcium carbonates and magnesium salts. So, these are the drugs. What is the drug interaction you are seeing with when you are taking with the rest of the drugs? Aluminum components will decreases the bioavailability. To which it will decreases the bioavailability? It will decreases the bioavailability of iron, tetracyclines, antimuscarinic agents, digoxin, prednisolone, ranitidine. So, if you are taking aluminum compounds with these drugs, it is going to decreases the bioavailability of the following drugs. And next one, the calcium carbonate. When you have taken the calcium carbonate with the same drugs, antimuscarinic drug, iron, quinidine, tetracycline. So, if you are taking these drugs with the calcium carbonate, then the bioavailability will be get decreased of these drugs. these drugs bioavailability will get decreased. And next one, magnesium salts. Magnesium salts are the drugs which will decreases the bioavailability of the digoxin and tetracycline. By this you can understand the antacids, when the antacids are taken with the lot of drugs like iron, tetracycline, antimuscarinic drugs, digoxin. So, all these bioavailability will get decreased by taking of the antacid drugs. Okay. Aluminum components, calcium components, magnesium components, all these components of antacids will decreases the bioavailability of the drugs like iron salt, tetracycline, antimuscarinic, okay, and antimuscarinic, iron, quinidine, tetracyclines and digoxin tetracyclines respectively. And if you see here ulcer protectives are the drugs which can cover the these are the drugs which can cover over the ulcer bed. So, these are the protective drugs which can cover over the ulcer bed and prevents the gastric acid secretion. By covering over the ulcer bed, it will prevent the gastric acid secretion. Here the two types of drugs you can use as an ulcer protectives. What are they? Sucralfate and colloidal bismuth subcitrate. These are the two ulcer protective drugs which you should not given, this especially this sucralfate. This sucralfate you should not given with antacid because it acts only in the acidic media. Antacid is a weak basis. So, if you are given sucralfate with antacid, it will not work here because sucralfate need the acidic media. Okay. So, the most common side effect was constipation. Okay, what is the most common side effect for the sucralfate? Constipation. And if I am talking about the colloidal bismuth subcitrate, the common side effect was blackening of tongue and bismuth toxicity. This is about the ulcer protectives. Ulcer protectives are the drugs like sucralfate and colloidal bismuth subcitrate. These are the drugs which are used as a protective ulcer protective drugs. Okay. So, the first drug sucralfate having the constipation action and the second drug having the blackening of a tongue and bismuth toxicity. Thank you. By here I had completed the anti-ulcer drugs part 2.